Hello, everyone. Welcome to day one. I had a tough time choosing which one I was going to start with. They're all so lovely and so important. But again, ease in. It's not about being overwhelmed and doing it perfectly. I'd actually rather we do this more imperfectly, and that's where we learn even more. So just give yourself time and space. So today we're talking about the journal, which I'm so excited to share with you. Each phase has a little emphasis on the mental, physical, and spiritual and emotional. So I broke up some things to focus on in each of those categories. So, for example, today in the book, the physical and mental observation journal is the journal. So we're going to go over the journal. And so for 22 days, this is, again, a way to self-reflect, not this old way of calories in, calories out. Oh my gosh, I did that for so long. This is more learning about yourself and habits that are supporting you and some habits that maybe sabotage our success. And again, no judgment, only self-compassion. This isn't a judging game at all. So that's the physical and mental. And the spiritual and emotional focus will be the meditation practice, which will be what I talk about tomorrow in tomorrow's video. So that was on page 11, by the way, of our guidebook. So if you have handy, you're going to take out your journal. You can print it. I love writing myself, so I totally get it. I haven't made this a hard copy yet, but you're more than welcome to print it out. Some of you have chose the option to provide me your journals, and I give you feedback. So that's wonderful too. It's either option is wonderful. Again, it's all about you. So if you want to write it, that's great. You'll be emailing it to me. I hope the document works well for most people. I'll give you more details on that, but it's a PDF and you can type right into it and then send it over to me, or again, print it out and do it for yourself. So if you have the journal handy, let's go through that, and I'm going to highlight some things to look for. So here's our journal. I did go ahead and give you directions on this, okay? But I'm not going to read those to you. I just want to kind of help you with the flow and how to play with this. So the first part of the journal is within 15 minutes of waking, which was water, hydrate, setting intentions, 5 deep breaths, and meditation, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Take a minute to, how did I sleep? Did I sleep straight through the night, or how many times? And if you do look at the clock, if you don't, that's fine. What time did you wake up to urinate? There's a lot of information we can learn about ourselves if we wake up in the middle of the night often. I believe our bladder, except for certain aspects of aging and, of course, having children, you can sleep through the night, okay? Our bladder is big enough to hold it. So I'm just here to give us some ways to look at it differently. Don't judge it again, but just really pay attention to your sleep. For example, if you wake up one morning and you didn't sleep well and you're exhausted and you're noticing you're craving sugar. So don't go and be overwhelmed by that craving. Just be like, oh, wow, it was my sleep. Just knowing your nervous system's tired from that night of lack of sleep, and it's wanting that quick fix. So this is, again, more observation, okay? So that's the first part. Daily declaration, how is my energy level? How do I feel emotionally? Is my energy level empty, 1/4 of a tank, 1/2 of a tank, 3/4, or full? This is an area where I love to play with. I know that I've been actually wanting to do these videos last week, but my tank was empty, and so I had to honor that. I really did, because I wanted to be full, present, fill up my tank, so I had more to give to everyone. So if there's a day where you wanted to go run 10 miles and you wake up with an empty tank, I highly suggest shift that. Sometimes a beautiful run can help clear your mind, of course, but that 10 miles might be more stress. The body doesn't go, oh, this is good stress. It's still stress, okay? So that's our responsibility to ourselves, is to play with that. And then the next part is the meals and the food. So in the morning, I suggested in the book to drink 16 ounces of water. Any temperature. I used to just suggest room temperature. Go for it. I do have my clients who use a lot of ice. I have them practice using less ice or room temperature, because it is a little shocking on the body to do that cold water right away. But again, when it's hot, you need to do what you do. So room temperature water is great upon waking. I do recommend lemon water for some people. Play with that that too, but it's the 16 ounces of water. Then you'll eat breakfast, and before you eat breakfast, you're going to practice feeling your yes, okay? Even if you have to run out the door and your body wanted hot savory, let's say, and you ran out the door and you're like, oh shoot, I have no time, I'm just grabbing a piece of fruit. Perfect. Just honor that you checked in and connected with the hot savory, and I bet within the next 24 hours you're going to want a hot savory meal, okay? So feeling your yes was a little video I did for the marketing tool, and also for, it's a flyer that I have, and it's pages, what pages of the book was that? I want to say 16, 17, 18 or so. And that's the feeling your yes breakdown, okay? I'm not going to do that on this one. I want to kind of stay with the journal, but yeah, it's pages 17, 18, 19. I was close. So pages 17, 18, 19 is the little bit more of the 3 steps of feeling your yes. So I'll have you look over that. This is the practice. For 22 days, all I want for you is to practice feeling your yes. Really. That's really what I want. So you're going to ask the hot, cold, sweet, savory, which was step 3 of feeling your yes. And then after we eat, does my body feel lighter after that meal? I like to stay positive instead of like, oh, I feel bloated or heavy. But if you do, that's fine too. It's good information. Again, no judgment, compassion. And then underneath, you can either decide to stay on the same supplement protocol you are on now, especially if it's through a healthcare practitioner, or if you put yourself on some things and you haven't been able to decipher if they're supporting you, now's the time to maybe take a pause, and then you can bring them back in phase 3. All right. Then you're going to play with the meal types, which is going to be a couple videos from now. I'm going to go over that a little bit more. Otherwise, I have my link to my food tree, which I love that conscious nutrition food tree. And I just love for us to practice different meal types. There's sometimes our brain needs more protein. There's sometimes our emotions need more starch. Does anyone relate to that? There's sometimes my spirit needs vegan. So I want us to play with those cues, which we're going to go into more detail on a couple videos coming up. Then, of course, snack, lunches, hydration, and everything there. And then I really want you to focus more on how you feel after each meal. So the chart on the right, the column on the right, pay more attention to that there. Self-care support, what exercise did I do? How does my body feel? Like if your ankle's a little sore, that's not the time to do the 10-mile run either. Professional athletes always check in their heart rate in the morning and see where their body's at. Because if they're experiencing stress, that's not the time they go do their intensity. They actually take a rest day. What a concept, huh? Then do I feel hydrated? I was recommending drinking half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 160, drink 80 ounces of water. Again, I don't want you to feel waterlogged, and this would be something if you're not drinking, like if you're only drinking 40 ounces and we recommended 80, don't force that. Gently add that in and see how you feel. Some days I notice I need more water, some days less. Again, I don't want you to feel waterlogged, and we don't want the organs to be oversaturated too. I love to talk about poop. So were my BMs complete? How many and what time of the day? Did I feel like it was, complete's a good one. Incomplete or loose, so play with that. There's even a Bristol scale that you can follow. And the Bristol scale it's on the internet. I'll send you guys a link for that too, the Bristol scale. And you're more than welcome to use that as a resource too. And then, of course, action items for tomorrow. A couple other things. Oh, this phase 1, I do have us experimenting with protein shakes in phase 1. If you've never done one before and you're not wanting to, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. If I am running out the door, it's kind of nice to have that as a backup, or if I'm driving home and I'm not very hungry, but I know I need something, that's a nice thing to have. Phase 2, we're taking them out, okay? So I love for us to experiment with contrast. So in my other programs, I switched it. I had phase 1 where you had it, and then phase 2, opposite. Phase 1 you didn't, phase 2 you added it. So I'm just wanting us to play with, again, contrast. Protein shakes, of course I love whole food and would love to just eat out of my garden, but again, it's more for convenience, and the quality has come up quite a bit with them. I like veggie-based ones like pea or rice or hemp. You can experiment if you know you do well on grass-fed whey. That's great too. So I'll give you more information about protein shakes also to play with, and maybe some name brands too. All right. So this is your journaling journey. And so for 22 days, you're just going to do your best at this. I believe it only should take 5 to 7 minutes. If I'm having an extra emotional day, maybe 10 to 12. But again, this is about identifying some things going on behind the scenes. I do notice my moods and food can be related. If I'm feeling really sad or grouchy and I want food as a crutch, so you can write that in there. What this does, it helps us practice, and so we go, oh wow, this is familiar. So instead of being reactive, we're more responsive. So, oh, this is familiar. And last time when I drank a glass of water, then a glass of tea, and then had a sip of veggie juice, I felt great. Yeah, that happens to me a lot, actually, when I'm like, what's this strong craving coming up? And it's usually from a cortisol stress spike. And so that flush, I'm having like a flare up, and then I have a strong craving. We don't ever judge the craving, which comes up in phase 2, but we're using that craving to connect more with our body. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling more hydration. So I can't wait to see you through your journals if you share them with me. If you have questions, let us know. Again, this is experiment of 1, and you're the best one. So see you tomorrow. Bye.